Rise of Nations is a Roblox grand strategy game focused on world domination. It also hides many secrets within its game mechanics and community. So sit back and relax, as in this video we will explore these secrets. Also, before we start with this video, quick announcement. I officially have a Discord server. So if you want to get pinged for new videos like this one, or possibly chat with me, then make sure to join and the link is in the description. Also subscribe, because 98% of you guys have not subscribed to the channel yet. One type of infrastructure that could be constructed between cities was roads. They would allow ground troops to move over them twice as quickly. They could be constructed with a maximum length of 1,500 kilometers per route. One big disadvantage of roads was their high construction cost. In the January 26, 2024 minor update, roads will be replaced by infrastructure, hence removing roads from the game. One highly anticipated significant mechanic is espionage. Many new concepts will be included by the update, such as geopolitical spying, counter-espionage, intelligence collection, foreign intervention and more. Since Espionage's initial leak on February 19, 2021, the community has given its new features a lot of attention, making it one of the biggest and most anticipated updates that is still unknown to the general public. Since February 23, 2021, Hyperant has not released any official previews or leaks related to espionage. The only exception to this is the fake espionage update released on April Fool's 2024. Rise of Nations features many unique and weird or funny city names, which players often use creatively as faction names. While I can't include them all in this video, here are some of them. If you know more unique city names, feel free to share them in the comments. The Space Destroyer and Space Cruiser were units added on April 1st, 2020 and removed the next day as an April Fool's joke. They were costly, did minimal damage, but had a large range. The units were recycled from Project Stardust. Many countries in Rise of Nations for some reason had land-based ports, which were not supposed to be in the game. These land ports were very overpowered. You could spawn indestructible aircraft carrier, for example. Things is the testing server for Rise of Nations, promoting developer transparency by letting the community test updates and give feedback to Hyperant. It usually opens publicly a few days after preview announcements in the official Discord's announcement and leaks channel, then closes after reset time. Sometimes when searching for Rise of Nations on YouTube or Google, you might stumble upon another game with the same name that isn't even from Roblox. This Rise of Nations has been around since 2003 as a standalone real-time strategy game that spans all of history. German Reich was a common formable for Germany due to its very easy way to form it. Similar to the Empire of Brazil or the Iberian Union, although based on pre-war Nazi Germany, it was removed by Hyperant not for Roblox terms of service concerns, but for balancing reasons. The German Reich is officially rejected by Hyperant and will never return back to the game. Trio Java was a formable of Botswana. It was removed in the December 2020 update. The formable of Trio Java has a very controversial status within the community, with its removal on December 22nd, 2020 being very divisive in the community due to the fact that it was one of the most liked fictional formables that was in the game. Throughout its lifespan, Rise of Nations has seen various cheats and exploits, such as those claiming to teleport troops, mass buy resources, or automatically build industry. However, many of these were poorly edited attempts to trick players into downloading malware, as creating cheats for a game like Rise of Nations is quite difficult, unlike games like Arsenal where you can easily use an auto-aim. Hacking Rise of Nations would require complex manipulation of the game's code and access to in-game files. Most so-called hacks were attributed to a user named Noam Chomsky, who allegedly had access to the game's files, as mentioned in a video. Back Back in 2019, when the game was fairly new and the graphics were really not that great, nations' colors were randomized once you loaded into the game. Nowadays, this has changed and nations have a predetermined color. In 2020, the 2D cities with labels were planned to replace the normal cities currently in the game, which are 3D. The feature had 89.9% approval from the community, but was not added due to issues in the implementation. Nukes were the first April Fools update in Rise of Nations. Later they were actually added to the game with the nuclear update. They could be launched across the globe, but despite being expensive, they did 0 damage and only cost 500 manpower. Rivals was an unused feature in Rise of Nations that existed since 2019 but was removed in January 2021. At one point there was a diplomatic option to form a rivalry during a testing session, but it never functioned properly. In Rise of Nations, there is a city in Kazakhstan that produces a substantial amount of uranium. Since capitals provide a significant boost in tax and resource income, you could set your capital there and even at tier 1 generate around 2 million in resource income. By 2021, you could easily develop it to tier 8 as it was small and inexpensive. At tier 8 alone, it could yield over 20 million. With resource increase technologies, you could achieve around 70 million in resource income from the capital alone. It has been nerfed since the addition of infrastructure. Before the trade system was implemented, players could buy and sell oil through a global stockpile, causing oil prices to fluctuate. This feature was removed when the current trade system was introduced. Earlier this year, there was a game-breaking bug that allowed players to teleport their infantry across water, seas and even continents, completely bypassing terrain. This glitch involved units moving so quickly that they could phase through hitboxes, including water, effectively teleporting. It was so overpowered that using it would result in a game ban, as it was considered an exploit. Rise of Nations has had 3 removed resources: lithium, sulfur and nickel. Lithium was a material that appeared in testing updates and could be found in Africa, Australia, Portugal, Argentina, Chile and Bolivia. It was used for producing electronics. Sulfur was found in Africa, Poland and various other locations. Sulfur was used to create fertilizer, but was removed due to its rarity, making fertilizer production too difficult. Nickel existed briefly during testing, but had no known uses, leading to its removal shortly after the tests began. The hacking of August 1st in Rise of Nations was a significant exploit that began around 10 PM, when hackers used the tool X.Spy to compromise the account of the game's creator Hyperrank. This breach led to widespread chaos, as players were temporarily banned or kicked from servers and redirected to the SCP-themed Roblox game Area 27v2. Exploiters sent malicious commands across public and private servers using Hyperrank's account. The hackers impersonated these Roblox users, both denied involvement and provide evidence to prove their innocence. There are multiple smaller Easter eggs in the game. One example is the Rebel skin, which can be unlocked by forming the African Union with Chad. On the back of the artillery unit with the skin, you can spot the text Run Yota, which is a reference to the real-life car company Toyota. At the start of Rise of Nations, Hyperrank introduced the vote to restart function. Through voting, players were able to restart the server. Nevertheless, it was taken out of the game with the resource update, since it was easily abused by a lot of players to purposefully erase land conquest. Polaris is the in-game admin command tool used by moderators in Rise of Nations to warn, kick or ban players. Only authorized moderators have access to this tool, ensuring that it is not available to anyone else. In 2021, Super Artillery was when artillery had a bug that allowed players to split their units significantly increasing damage output. This led to players having 200 individual artillery units capable of eliminating millions of soldiers per second. They could also bombard while moving, even in water. To create super artillery, you would split 3 to 4,000 artillery into 16 units, requiring tier 3 firepower and maximum range. Some players have encountered a unique aliens request text in Rise of Nations that reads: "My liege, Grand Ruler of the United Provinces, Conqueror of the Seven Seas, Vanquisher of the French Menace, or Monarch, a foreign realm wishes to go into an alliance with a glorious nation." While some speculate this could be an Easter egg tied to early players of the game, while others believe it might be a feature reserved for moderators or those with special permissions. Its origin remains uncertain, keeping the community intrigued and sparking further speculation. Before the technology update on December 24th, 2019, the old research system in Rise of Nations featured far fewer technologies and lacked categories. Initially, there were only 19 technology slots, which were later expanded to 162 in the update. Many people believe that one of Tankfish's videos, the most popular Rise of Nations videos, are the first ever made about the game, which helped attract many new players. Others might think Josh Metz created the oldest video. However, the earliest Rise of Nations videos were actually by Char_2 and Moto the Great, who later changed his name to Julius Caesar. Unfortunately, both privatized the channels, which is disappointing since they created the first YouTube videos for the game. As it stands, Josh Metz has the oldest accessible Rise of Nations video. There was a War Reparations Infinite Money glitch where you could declare war, demand war reparations, and annex the country. After that, you would release the country and repeat the process. They would continue to pay you 25% each time. Despite going into debt, they could still pay you. In November 2018, Hyperan posted on the Roblox dev forum introducing the creatively named Earth Simulator. This was the first official preview of what would become Rise of Nations, and it had significantly more cities than the current version. The Earth Simulator also included a built-in nuke launcher. Following a conversation in the comments of that post, Hyperan decided to transform the game into a strategy format, leading to the Rise of Nations we know today.